The first thing Xander Ellison noticed when he woke up was the unfamiliar ceiling. Metallic, with softly glowing blue panels and a faint hum vibrating through the air. Not his apartment in Pittsburgh, not a hospital, not even Earth. He sat up slowly, his back stiff and his mouth dry. The room was about the size of a high school classroom, but curved walls and lack of corners made it feel like the inside of an egg. Across from him stood what looked like a podium, and behind it, a tall creature with skin like polished onyx and a face that was all eyes. 6 of them arranged in 2 symmetrical rows. "Subject is conscious," the alien said in flawless English. Its voice was surprisingly mellow, like someone narrating a documentary about whales. Where am I?" Xander asked, swinging his legs off the cot. The floor was warm, rubbery. "You are aboard the Arxival. We intercepted your species' outgoing transmissions and selected you as a cognitive sample." Xander rubbed his temples. The last thing he remembered was walking out of the library after tutoring a kid in biology, some kind of flash in the sky. Then nothing. "I'm not exactly a genius," he said. "If you're looking for a Nobel Prize winner, you scored a 179 on your standardized cognitive aptitude test at age 16, the alien interrupted. Xander blinked. "How do you even know that? We accessed your educational records from your planetary digital archives." "That was definitely illegal, right? So what do you want from me?" Another door ear-eyed opened behind the alien, and a second creature entered, shorter, with pale green skin and arms that split into 4 fingers halfway down the forearm. "He's already forgotten," the new alien said, waving a limb dismissively. "Barely out of unconsciousness, and he's already asking where he is again. Humans such fragile memory structures." "I didn't forget," Xander said. "I was clarifying." The green alien turned to him. "You live barely over 70 of your solar cycles. Your neural retention degrades by 40% past mid-cycle. Your kind forget what they had for breakfast." "I didn't have breakfast," Xander muttered. "Exactly." The taller one stepped aside. "We are conducting a demonstration for our delegation." "You will be part of it." "Demonstration of what?" "Cognitive limitations of species with organic decay models." A third alien stepped into the room. This one was bigger than the others, with armor-plated limbs and a face that didn't blink. It stopped short of the podium, looking Xander up and down. "This is the human?" it asked. Its voice had a rasp to it like sandpaper. "Yes, Admiral Vaxel, this is the subject." Vaxel turned to Xander. "Human. Recite your planetary history for the last 2,000 years. Xander's eyebrows shot up. "Off the top of my head." "Yes, that's a lot. Begin." Xander hesitated. "Okay, the Roman Empire fell in weight. You want a list of events or a full narration?" Vaxel folded its arms. "As much as you can recall. We will observe how long it takes for you to collapse." Xander looked around. "You're mocking me." "Observation is not mockery." Another alien entered, this one wearing a bandolier covered in glowing cubes, which it began slotting into a console embedded in the wall. "We are live streaming to 57 interstellar academic consortia," it said. Xander stood up. "You're broadcasting this?" "Yes, begin your recitation." He exhaled hard. "You know what? Fine." He walked toward the center of the room where the floor shifted subtly under his weight. A gentle chime sounded, and a circular light appeared around his feet. Xander straightened his shoulders and began. In the year 476, the Western Roman Empire fell to Odoacer, marking the start of the Middle Ages in Europe. Over the next 1,000 years, various kingdoms and empires rose and fell. The Mongol Empire under Genghis Khan expanded across Asia in the 13th century. The Black Death hit Europe in the 14th century, killing millions. He kept going. He recited the Renaissance, the Reformation, the colonization of the Americas, the Enlightenment. His voice settled into a rhythm. He moved through the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, and the age of colonialism. When he got to the 2 world wars, he slowed slightly but kept his cadence. The aliens didn't interrupt. One of them passed a cube to another, who scanned it with a device that looked like a flattened telescope. "Is he accessing an implant?" one asked. "No. He is not enhanced." Xander continued. He covered the Cold War, the moon landing, the collapse of the Soviet Union. He shifted into the 21st century, touching on global conflicts, technological leaps, pandemics, and cultural shifts. He'd been talking for nearly 2 hours. When he finally paused, his throat dry and legs trembling, the room was completely silent. "No notes," he said hoarsely. "No breaks. You wanted memory. There you go." Vaxil stepped forward. "That was unexpected." Xander wiped sweat from his brow. "You think just because we forget where we parked sometimes, we're not capable of retaining information." The green alien tilted its head. "You were not randomly selected, were you?" "No. I've been memorizing entire books since I was 9. I have hyperthymesia." "It's rare." "Explain." "I remember almost every day of my life. And yeah, I absorb information like a sponge. I don't forget dates, events, people. But that doesn't make me a machine. I still forget to charge my phone or lose my keys sometimes. That doesn't mean I can't recall a textbook word for word." The taller alien approached him again. "You said no notes, but you memorized an encyclopedia." Xander hesitated. "Yeah. Which one?" "Encyclopedia Terra. 11 volumes. I read it when I was 17. "Took me 8 months. You still remember all of it, pretty much." "Begin recitation." Xander's knees nearly buckled. "Now, yes, I need water." A panel opened beside him, revealing a small basin. He drank deeply, wiped his mouth, and nodded. "Alphabetical?" "Yes. Aardvark. A nocturnal mammal native to Africa." He kept going. He recited entries on astronomy, biology, chemistry, geography, even the obscure ones. He paused only to breathe. The aliens watched, transfixed. Some took notes. Others seemed frozen in place. 3.5 hours in, Xander's voice cracked. He sat down on the floor but didn't stop. He was on volume 5 now, into metallurgy and mineralogy. Iron. Atomic number 26. A metal found abundantly in the Earth's crust. Eventually, the tall alien raised a hand. "Stop." Xander looked up, eyes glassy. "What? You have proven the point." Xander slumped back, exhausted. A moment passed. Then another. Finally, Vaxil turned to the others. "We have misjudged the human capacity for memory." The green alien looked down, adjusting something on its console. Xander coughed. "Can I go home now?" The tall one looked at him. "You are not finished." Xander blinked. "What? You have demonstrated exceptional rote memory." "But we require demonstration under stress." "I've been talking for 5 hours. You will be tested under pressure." A panel in the wall slid open, revealing a narrow hallway filled with shifting lights and a low mechanical hum. The tall alien gestured. "Proceed." Xander stood slowly. His legs ached and his throat burned, but he walked forward. The hallway darkened behind him. Lights overhead flashed erratically. A voice boomed. "You will be asked questions. Wrong answers result in physical discomfort. Do you consent?" "No." Consent registered. "What?" The first blast hit him in the side like a punch from a heavyweight boxer. He dropped to one knee, gasping. "State the molecular structure of ethanol." "C2H5OH, he gasped. The pain stopped. "Correct." Next, the questions came rapid fire. Chemistry, physics, obscure facts from the Encyclopedia. Every wrong answer earned a jolt. Xander gritted his teeth, panting. He missed one on atmospheric pressure at high altitudes and went down hard. He stayed down for over a minute, then he got up. He answered 6 more correctly. When he emerged, he collapsed just outside the hallway. A medical bot rolled in silently, scanned him, and administered fluids. The green alien hovered nearby. "You endured 17 minutes longer than predicted." Xander didn't respond. The bot helped him onto a cot. "I'm not just my memory," he muttered. "It's not about storing facts, it's about what you do with them. We understand." "Do you?" The green alien was quiet. Later, after he'd rested, Vaxil returned. "You will be returned to your planet. With compensation." What kind of compensation? Access to our medical technology. You endured neural trauma, we will repair it. Xander closed his eyes. And the broadcast. The academic consortia have requested to study your performance with your permission. Xander sighed. Fine. The green alien stepped closer. We mocked your species for its forgetfulness, but perhaps it is not weakness. Perhaps it is adaptation. He raised his head. Sometimes forgetting is the only way to survive. The alien nodded. Xander was returned to Earth 3 days later. He woke up in a hospital bed in Pittsburgh. A nurse leaned over him. You've been missing for 9 days, she said. I had a long trip. His voice was hoarse but steady. He was different now, exhausted but intact, and when he finally got home, he found a package on his doorstep, a single cube. No markings, no instructions. He placed it on his desk. It lit up, displaying the words. Subject Xander Ellison. Cognitive class, exceptional, status, respected. He smiled weakly, then went to sleep for 20 hours straight. 3 days after returning to Earth, Xander sat upright in the examination chair at the Neurocognitive Center of Allegheny General. The overhead lights were too bright, and the sterile scent of disinfectant clung to everything like a warning. Let's start with your sleep cycle, said Dr. Leem, tapping at the tablet in her hand without looking up. Any interruptions, nightmares, gaps in time? I've been waking up at weird hours, Xander said. But no missing time, just that thing where you wake up and it feels like you've already had a full day but it's still dark out. Doctor. Leem nodded once. Cognitive pacing disruption, common after prolonged stress exposure. Do you feel overwhelmed by routine tasks? I tried to do laundry yesterday. Ended up staring at the detergent for 20 minutes trying to remember whether I already added it. Did you? I still don't know. She put the tablet down. Memory overactivity can cause misfires in task sequencing. Your brain's probably trying to downregulate after being in a hyper-encoding state for too long. Is that a fancy way of saying my head's full? It's a way of saying your system was pushed past safe capacity. You weren't just recalling facts, you were doing it under duress. That creates a chemical footprint. He leaned back. I feel like I've been jet-lagged for a month straight. Your blood work shows elevated cortisol, disrupted melatonin rhythm, and minor inflammation in your temporal lobes. That's consistent with acute memory strain. No lasting damage, but we're monitoring for rebound effects. Rebound effects like what? Flashbacks, dissociation, possible linguistic oversaturation. Xander blinked. Linguistic what? You might find yourself involuntarily reciting things, snippets of data, definitions, recaps. Like a skipping record. That's already happening. I was in line at a coffee shop and started reciting the chemical process of decaffeination. Dr. Leem raised an eyebrow. Did anyone say anything? They clapped, she chuckled. You'll need cognitive rest. No reading, no podcasts, no intense conversations. Keep stimuli low, no trivia nights. Fine, but I'm going to be bored out of my mind. Boredom is therapeutic. Let your brain idle. He shifted in the chair. I can't shake the feeling that they're still watching me. Dr. Leem studied him. You think the aliens are observing you? I know it sounds paranoid, but I found a black cube under my pillow this morning. No markings, just sitting there. Where is it now? I threw it in the freezer. She didn't laugh. Okay, she said. We'll contact the Department of Interplanetary Affairs. They exist. They do now. Later that evening, Xander lay on his couch with a cold pack on his forehead and 2 noise-canceling headphones stacked on top of each other. The television was off. His phone was powered down. The only sound in the room was the irregular thump of his own heartbeat. Then the cube started humming. He sat up slowly, eyes narrowing. The freezer door stood slightly ajar. The hum grew louder, a low vibration like a distant engine. He pulled the freezer open. The cube was glowing faintly, a dull amber. Okay, he muttered. This is exactly the kind of thing I'm supposed to avoid. He reached in. The moment his fingers touched it, the cube dissolved soundlessly, leaving a ring of frost on his palm and a sudden image behind his eyes. A corridor. Pale light. A creature with a single eye and no mouth holding something out to him. Then it was gone. He stumbled back, heart pounding. Half an hour later, a knock came at his door. 3 short raps, then silence. He opened it cautiously. A man in a slate gray suit stood outside, holding an unmarked ID badge. White hair, no expression, eyes that didn't blink often enough. "You're Xander Ellison." "I didn't order anything." The man stepped inside without waiting. "I'm with the Department of Interplanetary Affairs. We've been monitoring post-contact anomalies. You people don't even have a website." "That's intentional." Xander folded his arms. "Let me guess, you're here about the cube." "We detected alien resonance signatures. Your freezer set off 3 instruments in our field office." "Did you see what I saw?" "No visual data transmits from those objects, only subjective impressions." "What did you perceive?" "A hallway. Something was handing me something." The agent nodded. "That's consistent with transitional probes. They're used to request follow-up contact." No follow-up. I did my part." "They don't view it that way. You displayed a cognitive profile they find remarkably flexible under load." Their words, "I'm not a battery." "They don't want energy, they want patterns." "You formed one that interests them." Xander rubbed his temples. "Let me guess. They want me to walk through a glowing door and recite the periodic table backwards while juggling. They want to test your improvisational logic under foreign sensory constraints. That's somehow worse. You can decline." "I did. They didn't listen." The man handed him a folder. Inside were 6 pages of dense language, half of it redacted. At the bottom was a signature line. "What is this?" "Consent for limited re-engagement. You'll be picked up, tested, and returned within 48 hours. All physiological disruptions will be mitigated." Xander stared at the line. "What if I say no?" "They'll keep trying, subtle at first, then less so." He signed. The next morning he was gone again. This time he woke up in a room filled with moving walls, not physically shifting, just the illusion of motion, like wallpaper that responded to his gaze. A small platform in the center held a single object, a white sphere with a slit down the middle. "Subject Ellison," said a voice he didn't recognize. "Your task is to extract the sequence." "What sequence?" "Begin." The sphere opened slightly. Inside was a swirling pattern of lights, changing rhythmically. He stared at it. At first it looked random, then he noticed repetition. A flash, a pause, 2 flashes, a longer pause, Morse code, but not in alphabetical characters. It was binary-coded decimal. 18. 9, 5, 27. 71. The lights shifted again. He followed, decoding as fast as he could. The numbers formed a pattern, prime numbers, then Fibonacci, then atomic weights. He repeated them aloud. A tone sounded. The room changed. Now the walls displayed moving shapes, triangles that pulsed, expanded, merged, then split. "Determine the unifying principle," the voice said. He watched carefully. "Color shifts, edge counts, ratios. 5-fold symmetry," he said. "Golden ratio progression." Another tone. This went on for hours. At no point was he told the rules. He simply had to infer them, each phase more abstract than the last. Eventually, the room filled with sounds, tones that warped and layered over time. Recreate the pattern. He tapped the floor, mimicking the rhythm. The sphere split open fully. Inside was a single word, interpreter. The voice returned. "You have passed calibration. You will be given access to the relay." "Is that the part where I go insane?" "The relay is a shared interface. You will not be alone." He was pulled through light. When he awoke, he was standing in a space without edges, surrounded by entities. Not physical bodies, but impressions. Concepts with weight. They coalesced around him. The aliens didn't speak. They transmitted. His thoughts were translated instantly. So were theirs. They showed him a problem. A planetary system collapsing due to gravitational imbalance. They wanted solutions. Models. Scenarios. He ran simulations in his head, testing orbital realignments, mass redistribution, rotational damping. They adjusted, refined, responded. It was like playing chess with reality. When he returned, it was 2 days later. He woke up in his bed, heart racing, forehead burning. A doctor was already there scanning him. You've been stabilized, no memory loss. But your synaptic density has increased. Is that good? It's not supposed to be possible. He sat up slowly. On his nightstand was another cube, this one glowing faintly blue. He didn't touch it. Instead, he turned to the doctor. Do they always come back? Only when they find someone who changes the model. He looked at the cube again. Then he reached for a pen and wrote down the sequence of prime numbers they'd shown him just to see if he still could. He got to the first 87 before his hand started shaking. He stopped there. The third follow-up scan took over 2 hours. Xander lay motionless beneath a transparent dome filled with soft blue light, electrodes clinging to his temples and forearms. The technician, a middle-aged woman with a pencil tucked behind her ear, monitored several screens that displayed scrolling data and shifting topographies of neural activity. Still no structural damage, she said, adjusting a dial. But your hippocampus is showing unusual patterns. Unusual how? His voice echoed slightly inside the dome, layered encoding, like you've got several timelines of memory running in parallel. You're storing things faster than you process them. I guess that explains the dream I had where I was simultaneously learning Mandarin and untying a nautical knot. The technician didn't laugh. She scribbled something on her clipboard. We'll need to do a controlled recall test. Just to see how stable the layers are. Will my brain explode if I get something wrong? Not unless you sneeze during calibration, he blinked. You're joking, right? She gave him a look. 2 rooms over, doctor. Leem tapped her stylus against the edge of a tablet, watching a delayed feed of Xander's neural scans. Next to her stood someone unfamiliar, a lean man with eyes too steady and a badge that bore no department name. You're not with health services, she said, not looking up. No, then you don't have clearance to be here. I'm only observing. His case has diplomatic implications. Medical data isn't up for negotiation. Neither is planetary security, she turned. If you're worried he's dangerous, you're 2 weeks late. He's been walking around with what amounts to a living alien codec in his head. That's why I'm here. Back in the scan room, the dome lifted with a soft hiss. Xander sat up slowly, rubbing the side of his neck. Feels like I've been microwaved. The technician pointed to a chair beside the console. Sit down. We're going to do object recognition next. What kind of objects? She opened a drawer, pulling out a tray with various items. A rusted key, a smooth stone, a black chess bishop, a torn movie ticket, and an old coin. Tell me everything you can about each. Don't guess. Don't elaborate. He picked up the chess piece. Standard Staunton design, mid-20th century. Likely used in club matches. The wear on the base suggests habitual nervous handling with the right thumb. The ticket. AMC stub. August 24, 2009. Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards. Faint ink smudge from a refill soda cup. The coin, wheat penny. 1943. Steel composition due to wartime copper shortage. The technician looked mildly disturbed. None of these belong to you, I know. She noted something without speaking. He picked up the key last. This is from a Yale 5300 series padlock discontinued in 1978. The groove matches a cut pattern used in industrial storage units. She leaned closer. How do you know that? I don't, I just do. Outside, the man with the unmarked badge watched through the glass. Are you seeing this? Dr. Leem asked. I've seen it before, not in humans. She narrowed her eyes. Are you saying he's been altered? I'm saying he's been upgraded. Xander stood, stretching one shoulder. I've started noticing something weird. The technician looked up. Just one thing. No, I mean, when people talk, I start predicting their next words, not perfectly, but close. Like I'm preloading dialogue trees. You're anticipating language, not just speech. Movement. I saw a guy trip over his shoelace from 20 feet away and knew it was going to happen 3 seconds before he did. She paused. Have you told anyone else? He shook his head. Didn't want to end up in a padded room, she pressed a button. Dr. Leem, he's ready for the mirror test. A few minutes later, he was guided into a different room. This one had no medical equipment, just a large mirror, floor to ceiling, and a chair set precisely 4 feet away from it. What am I supposed to do? He asked. Dr. Leem entered behind him. Sit, describe what you see. He sat. Looked, at first, just his reflection. Same face, same hair, slightly heavier bags under his eyes. Then something shifted, very subtly. The light in the reflection didn't quite match the room. It was half a shade cooler. He frowned. Is this some kind of hologram? No, that's you, but your brain is filtering it differently now. Look again. He stared harder. The lines of the mirror wavered just for a moment, then stabilized. I see something behind me, he said quietly. There's nothing there. It's not a person, it's an outline, like an afterimage. Dr. Leem stepped beside him. That's a known side effect of layered cognition. Your brain's not distinguishing between live perception and stored visual data. You're overlaying possible outcomes on current input. So I'm hallucinating the future, not exactly. You're previewing probabilities. He leaned forward. I don't want this, she studied him. Then you need to offload. How? We've arranged a full sensory purge, not just memory. Pattern density, perceptual load, auditory loops. You'll go through controlled sleep state with a guided unbinding protocol. Will it erase anything? No, just decompress it, like unzipping a file, he swallowed. Okay. That evening, they prepped him for the procedure. He was placed in a temperature-controlled chamber, surrounded by low-frequency sound generators and a specialized sleep-inducing mist that smelled faintly of pine and ozone. When you wake up, Dr. Leem said, you'll still remember everything, but it won't be stacked. It'll be linear again. Like it used to be, he nodded, eyes already heavy. And the aliens? He asked. They've agreed to terminate contact. You fulfilled your function. They're observing others now. I hope they pick someone who likes math more, she smiled faintly. You'll sleep for 6 hours. When you wake, we'll do a final test. He drifted off before she finished the sentence. 6 hours later, he opened his eyes. The room was quiet, no humming. No shimmer in the air, just the soft rustle of fabric as he sat up and swung his legs over the side. How do you feel, doctor? Leem asked from a nearby monitor. Like I took a nap in a library and woke up in a hammock. No overlapping thoughts. None. Any looping language? Not unless you count that jingle from the cereal commercial I heard at breakfast. Baseline normal. He stood, stretched, and smiled. I think I'm done. You are. Outside the building, the sky was overcast. A light breeze shifted the trees. Xander walked slowly down the front steps, hands in his jacket pockets. At the corner, a kid on a skateboard nearly collided with him. Xander caught the board mid-spin without looking. Whoa, the kid said. Thanks, dude. No problem. He watched the kid roll away, then headed for the bus stop. He didn't see any cubes, no strange lights, no flickering shadows, just the world moving forward 1 second at a time. As he sat on the bench, a bird landed nearby, pecked at a candy wrapper, and flew off. Xander stared after it, then pulled a pen from his pocket and wrote a single sentence on the back of a receipt. I remember everything, but I don't need to carry it all at once. He tucked it into his wallet. And for the first time in weeks, he didn't feel watched. He didn't feel tested. He didn't feel exceptional. He just felt human. And that was enough.